everyone. Oh wow, we're getting a little bit of feedback here. Okay, I'll be more quiet. Thank you all for being here. I'm Dr. Kenneth Jimenez. I am the chair of the music department here at VCSU. And before I go too horrendously far, I want to introduce the other music faculty here. So as I call your name, stand up and wave so everyone knows you. Why don't we start with Dr. Ozzie Johnson. So Ozzie is our professor of piano here. Yes, give him a round of applause. It so rarely happens. It's on the other side. Thanks, Al. Next, Dr. Katrina Clements. She is our professor of woodwinds. Professor Heather Ani, our new director of choral activities. Diana Van Bruggen, staff accompanist for the music department. Stephen Cunningham, our voice and history instructor. And working on the mixer back kind of off to stage right, your left, Dr. Al Lefebvre, our university president and also a member of the music faculty. Why don't you give a wave? There we go. Thank you very much, Al. So, in addition to being chair of the music department, I have been tasked with being the master of ceremonies for this event. And those of you that know me know that I do not do ceremonies. I am not about that. The last ceremony that I went to, everyone was wearing robes and hoods. Someone was carrying a mace. There was something about tassels. It was really weird, right? It's commencement if you're not catching what I'm putting down. Anyway, so like I said, I really don't do ceremonies. I'm just kind of learning this as I go. But one thing I do is I teach, right? And I teach in higher education. And one of the big things in higher education that we're talking about all the time right now is AI, artificial intelligence, right? How many times have those of us who are at VCSU heard that dreaded two-word phrase, artificial intelligence? All of the time. It's a big thing in higher ed right now. So I decided, since I don't know what to do as a master of ceremonies, why don't I just ask an AI? So I decided, well, I'll ask ChatGPT, what do I need to do? What is a master of ceremonies? And ChatGPT's response was, a master of ceremonies is perfect for those who take party planning very seriously. This 2-year graduate program teaches you everything from the graceful handling of a microphone to the strategic placement of a champagne fountain, ensuring that you're the go-to expert for ribbon cuttings and royal balls. Core classes for this curriculum include the philosophy of party hats, a survey of post-war Toastmasters, and introduction to confetti studies. So I hate to say that it looks like I'm a little bit academically unqualified for the position of Master of Ceremonies, but I'm here anyway. So maybe we should call this Associates of Ceremonies or Certificate of College Studies in Ceremonies. I suppose I also probably shouldn't believe everything that I read online or that an AI tells me. I do believe, though, that I'm really honored to be here with all of you, to have the chance to lead this event. And I'm honored to introduce President Lefebvre to give you a proper welcome. So, Dr. Lefebvre.
Well, thank you, Ken. I don't know how much more proper I could be. That was really well done. And AI, yeah, it's the new thing. Anyway, why we are here today is to celebrate the achievements, the careers, the legacies, the outstanding work that several of our alumni have been doing over the years. And as I thought about this particular event, I couldn't help but reflect on how long I've known all 3 of these folks. It's been a while. And I thought, if it's okay, I would just share a little bit of a personal background with all 3 of them. So Bill Wieland and John Monilaws graduated about a year apart, I think, here at VCSU. And when I was working at another institution to the south where Bill still works, we were very fortunate to hire him in 1994. At that time, I was serving as the director of bands and the chair of the music department. And we were so glad to get Bill on our faculty. I'll talk more about Bill later. But I wanted to bring forward the connection between Bill and John. As I was serving as the director of bands, John would bring his band from Lisbon to our annual band festival. And I remember Bill saying, hey, I've got this friend that's coming. We were together at VCSU. Maybe at that time it was Valley City State College. I'm not sure what it was, but in any case, I knew they were colleagues and they knew each other and that they were good friends. And so John, I figured as I started to watch this relationship unfold over the years, because John would bring his band every year, you could count on one thing for sure. The students would learn a lot, and once John dropped them off, he and Bill would disappear somewhere. And they would get all caught up on all things important. So, and then Tricia did her student teaching in Aberdeen, at Aberdeen Central with Dennis McDermott and Jerry Letcher, who are my former colleagues as well. And so there are just so many connections, and through the music festivals and the contests and all of these things, I'm just so happy for all three of you today. And we're here to celebrate you and your achievements and what you mean to VCSU. So thank you for what you've done. I'd like to just take a moment to introduce some of the academic leadership that's with us here this morning. Back on the camera, our Director of Public Relations is Mark Potts. We can hold the applause till the end. There are a few that I'd like to introduce. Our new Vice President for Student Affairs is Mark Nelson. Larry Brooks is our Vice President for Academic Affairs. Erica Buchholz is our Chief Financial Officer. Our former Vice President for Student Affairs, newly retired, Dr. Aaron Klingenberg. Corey Anderson serves as our Director of Advancement in University Foundation. And I want to especially thank Kim for all of the work she did in putting this event together. Ken, all of the faculty, thank you for your fine work and your contributions to today's ceremony. So with that, we're going to begin our meal. And I'll speak a little bit more about Bill in a moment. I just want to leave you with one thought. For those who haven't been on campus for a while, and even those who do visit campus on a regular basis, you probably notice lots of changes. Campus is changing, but one thing stays the same, and that's our people, our community, our social connections, our cultural connections on campus. As I went to the coronation event just a few nights ago, in fact, we have a candidate sitting right here. All the candidates were asked, what is it that you really are going to treasure with you about VCSU? And almost to a person, they talked about the amazing community that we have here at VCSU. The welcoming community, the home-like community, those things, in spite of all of the progressive changes we're making, are still in place today. I wanted to also mention another newly retired cabinet member, very newly retired, Larry Robinson, back in there. So let's enjoy our meal, and we'll be back with you with the formal program in a few moments.
All right. Well, hopefully you all enjoyed your meal. We've got a little short piece of special music. If you look in your program, you'll see that the composer was James Ployer. He was our first inductee to the Music Hall of Fame, and something that I want to do as we continue on with these ceremonies is to continue to highlight works or highlight just highlight our inductees, our members of the Hall of Fame, right? So we're starting with Ployer, of course, but going forward, I always want to either feature performances by people who are past members of the Hall of Fame or compositions by members of the Hall of Fame. So here we go with James Ployer's The Hunt.
Thank you, Dr. Jimenez and Diana. Thank you for playing a piece by James Ployhar, the first member of our VCSU Music Hall of Fame. Again, in my old days as a band director, I would do several honor bands. And it became tradition for me with these honor bands to always end with the same piece by the same composer. And that was an arrangement of Anchors Away by James Ployhar. And I started doing that back in the 90s and never really even connected the importance of that until I was applying for this position and realizing, hey, that's where James Ployhar graduated. So, thank you very much, Ken and Diane. It's my honor to introduce our first recipient of the Hall of Fame Award for Music this year. And as I mentioned a little earlier, I'm very grateful that I know all three of them and consider all three of them friends and colleagues. But I get to talk about Bill. And you can see all of his academic and amazing achievements in the program, but I wanted to talk about Bill the person, Bill the teacher, and Bill the friend. He basically shares some of the stuff that isn't in print. Although some of this actually is in print, and if you do enough detailed investigative work, you too can find out some amazing information about Dr. William Wieland. All you have to do is go to his website and click on the long biography for him. And you can, if you look close enough, you can even find a photo of him and Marianne on VCSU choir tour sitting on the bus. And anyway, I digress. But you can get to know a lot about Bill and his family from looking at that. Bill and I met back in 1994, as I mentioned earlier, when he came to Northern State to serve as our music theory, piano, ear training, composition faculty member. Little did he know that he would go on to become the chair of the music department and actually could have very well continued through the dean's role and provost if he had chosen that. But he decided not to choose that path. Bill started formal piano lessons in 3rd grade, continued them through college. Bill grew up near Daisy, North Dakota on a farm, and he had always wanted to be a dairy farmer and had not chosen a major when he first enrolled at VCSU. But after declaring a math major, he gradually decided that music classes were easier and more fun. So he decided to change to a music major. However, he still earned a minor in math, and his calculus professor, Roger Rand, was his advisor until he graduated. And it's nice to have Dr. Brushwine here as well today. As I said, Bill and Marianne met in the VCSC choir, and to satisfy half of their phys ed requirement, they enrolled in social dance and racquetball together. After graduating from VCSU, he moved to Minneapolis for 2 years while he worked on his master's degree at the University of Minnesota, and just has had an amazing career and an amazing life. When he graduated with his Master of Arts, they celebrated, he and Marianne, by enjoying a hot air balloon ride as an early wedding present to themselves. Interestingly, I'd like to talk just a moment about his family. His entire family has a very long and distinguished connection to VCSU. And I've heard many stories from Larry and from others in this room about the impact that the Wieland family made on Valley City State University. Significant positive impact. But Bill and Marianne have 3 children of whom they're very, very proud, and I'm honored to know them all. John, Sophie, and Abe. And while they couldn't be with us here today, I know that they join us in celebrating this recognition and this amazing accomplishment. Speaking of his children, I'm not sure if this is still the case, but when we were colleagues, I remember you saying that you only speak German in the house with the children. That's the language that was spoken in the home. And consequently, all 3 of them are conversational in German as well. He always enjoyed, maybe still does, listening to Mary Ann read. He tried reading to her, but he put her to sleep. So that didn't last too long. A little bit about his career at Northern. He's entrusted with a class called Freshman Music Theory. Back then, I still remember it was Music 110. And this particular course is unique because it really is, for all of us musicians in the room, and there are a lot of us, we know that's the litmus test. It really is. Quite often a student will be really involved with high school band or choir and think, hey, I want to major in music. This is going to be fun. Like Bill thought it was going to be fun. And then you get to theory and you say, wait a minute, what is this all about? You start getting into the real complexities of understanding the mathematics of music. And so that particular class and curriculum is really important. It's important for another reason. The music theory teacher is the one music faculty member that gets to know every student in the department. We have some amazing applied faculty here that focus in various aspects of our program. You might get to know the choral students more, the voice students, or the instrumental, or the percussion, or the trumpet. But the music theory teacher gets to know all of them. And so that's a really important role in retaining and building a program. And back in 1991, when I started there, we had 40 music majors. And with the arrival of Bill Wieland and his amazing nurturing work in that curriculum and with those students, that program grew to over 100 majors in a very short time. Bill deserves so much of that credit. His kindness, his nurturing approach, all of that worked. I think back to my beginning as a freshman music major, being a clarinet player and a tenor in the choir. Quite honestly, I'd seen bass clef, but I really didn't know much about bass clef. And so now you get into this music theory class and it goes way beyond just bass and treble clef. You get into all sorts of different clefs and all sorts of different nomenclatures and rules and chordal structures, and all of this was just new information for me. And Bill taught students like that on a daily basis. He took them from where they were to where they could be. That's what distinguished Bill, and still does to this day, is a phenomenal teacher. He's empathetic, he's organized, he's a brilliant scholar, composer, and his work ethic is among the finest I've ever seen. Maybe that goes back to that dairy farm upbringing. Bill Wieland is simply one of the finest music educators I know. His dedication and commitment to the profession and his students is beyond reproach. He has blended his amazing talent and work ethic with kindness and compassion. His positive impact on literally hundreds of musicians and music educators is immeasurable. It's my honor now to present Dr. William Wieland for induction into the 2024 VCSU Music Hall of Fame. Bill?
Yeah, thank you very much. If you look in that program and look at the Music Hall of Fame people from before, when I was growing up, Myron Sommerfeld, I think 2012, was my K-12 band and choir teacher. And we played Ployer's music, of course, in the band. And John Reed was my choir conductor here at Valley City State when I met Mary Ann. And R.Q. Johnson was the band guy here, and I had just graduated from Valley City State and got a phone call out of the blue. Do you want to play keyboards for the Medora musical? Because he had pulled strings. He was out there every summer. And so, yeah, I have a connection to a bunch of folks on that list. Thank you.
You're subjected to me again. I apologize in advance. So it's my opportunity and my privilege to speak about John Monilaws today. So I probably will not be as extensive in my background as Dr. Lefebvre was, but I want to talk a little bit about how I came to know John. So I came here to VCSU in 2016, and my first full-time year was 2017. And not from the area, didn't know a lot of people, didn't have a lot of connections to the community. And one of the first people to kind of seek me out and try to get to know me was John. And I remember, this seems kind of silly, but I think you had just started at Poplars right around that time. And the game of business card tag that we played for a little while, it's a silly memory perhaps, but it does show one of the things that really makes John stand out in my mind, and that is dedication. He wasn't going to let go. He was going to make sure that we met and talked, and he got to know me, and that, you know, I felt comfortable starting out in my new job. And he always made it very clear that he was always there to help. And he's done that in his other career as well. So he taught in Lisbon for many years and built the program into something that is that punches way above its weight class, I'll say, in terms of the music program, and is now in the hands of one of our recent alumni, and is doing very well. And she's standing on the shoulders of giants, if that makes sense. And it's all built on a foundation that John laid in Lisbon. The other way that we've gotten to know each other is through the EBC We're in the Christmas Mood performances every December, and that was the first time I really got to know everyone in that group. And what it showed me is, again, just the extreme level of dedication that John puts into everything that he does. So much effort in finding music, in getting the group together to rehearse, in finding equipment for the group to use, to find a new facility for them to perform in. All of these things take such an immense amount of time. And his willingness to do that, I can't imagine another person who could take that on. It really does just kind of astound me. His work with the Troubadours and making sure that organization has continued to go on. What other city our size can say that they have a men's choral group that performs to the level that it does and performs as frequently as it does? It wouldn't exist without John continuing to push it forward. He is part of the lifeblood of music in Southeast North Dakota, and it really is an honor and a privilege to present this award to John. So, John, come on up. How do you want us to do this? Take that.
Good. Thanks again. Thank you very much, and thank you for all you coming out today. I had a PowerPoint presentation to give you on my career, but Mark forgot to bring my remote, so I did write down a couple things, and I won't. I know the parade starts at 4, so I'll have you out here in plenty of time for that. I do want to thank Kim and the music department for this honor and for getting everything going for today. I am truly honored to sit at the same table as the list of Hall of Fame people that are listed in your career, and now my good friends Bill and Tricia as well. I just, it's quite a. You look at the names, and when we inducted James Poyer into the Hall of Fame, R.Q. Johnson, that was the same year I was the MC of that, and what I remember about R.Q.'s comments were the Twins were playing bad, so we still have that in common this year. And John Reed, Merton Hudgard, Myron Summerfield, who sings in my Troubadours now, and wished he could be here today because like Bill said, he was Bill's teacher and he knows Tricia well, so he wished he could be here today. And Gloria Peterson, who started the Troubadours years and years ago, and I remember, you know, walking around the music department and seeing Gloria and her fellas, is what she called them, always in there, and we were just kids wondering, you know, what is this all about? And I've said this before, I don't think I really appreciated Gloria Peterson as a teacher until I got out into the world teaching and realized that so many of the things she said was like, oh yeah, yep, now I'm making the connection now. Before I just sit there and think, yeah, it's gotta be 250 here pretty soon. But wow, just it's amazing that those people, that I'm in the Hall of Fame with those people. That's really cool to me. Yeah, Bill Dairy Farm, I was gonna be a diesel mechanic, and I still enjoy turning a wrench once in a while. And the thing that got me to Valley City State was in 1982 when Monty Johnson sent me a free ticket to the EBC hit parade. And I came to that, and when it was over thinking, yep, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that. And now, as Ken mentioned, we do our Christmas show, which is kind of a takeoff from our hit parade, and less steps to climb into Bankstead, so we decided we'd get everything on one level because we're just aging a little bit. But anyway, I am honored. My wife is with me today, my daughters, my mother-in-law, my aunt, my friend Josh, who's been in every one of my shows for the most part, and the ones he wasn't, he should have been, and that's just something between Josh and I. So anyway, I enjoy what I do. I'm happily retired. I do direct the Troubadours, and it's a fun bunch. And usually my wife says when I leave the house every night for Troubadour rehearsal, cut off together. And I always look at her and say, that's usually the least of my worries. So it is that we cut off together. But anyway, thanks to everyone for coming out, and it's nice to see you all here. Erica had to deal with me in Lisbon, and now look where she's one of our vice presidents and whatever. So thanks, Dr. LaFave, for helping get this together, Ken, and everyone. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Dr. Stephen Cunningham. I'm the voice guy at VCSU. And I'm here presenting for wonderful Tricia Lebahn, I believe is how you pronounce that name. Our Tricia Lebahn, amazing educator. I first met Tricia, I was going around my first year here 2 years ago, looking at schools to work with their choirs and helped build connections between VCSU and the surrounding choirs. And I kept hearing this name, Tricia Lebahn. I was like, who is this person? What's going on? Fast forward a year later, I get a email from Tricia saying we would love for you to come direct the LOE, except it was expanded to Chloe Festival. Yeah, like all the letters, really. And so she invited me to come and direct the choir. And so I was like, well, first I want to come and meet you and see what you do with your choir. So I made my way to Lemoore, walked in the building at like 7 in the morning. When did you guys start? It was early. I was not happy. And I walk in to the choir room, and she is sitting there with two fluters, fluted kids that play the flute. And she was taking the time to work with them on their repertoire for the year. And they were playing out of tune, wrong notes, wrong rhythms, and she was so patient and so wonderful with these kids. Bell rang, they collected their things and went on to their class, and I said, you're a saint for meeting with kids this early in the morning and working with them. She said, well, if they're willing to come in, I'm willing to make the effort. And I think that is what makes an incredible music teacher, is the one who comes in to take the time and work with those because she loves them and she loves what she does. Now, some facts about Tricia. 25 years teaching. She should get a medal just for that. She's now, for the past 17 years, served Livermore Public Schools as their choir director, band director, music, all things person. She's been married to her fellow alum, Neil Lebahn, for 28 years, with 2 children, Dane, who's a current VCSU student, double majoring in business and computer information systems, and who was just peer nominated to homecoming court. Woo! Woo! And I love this. I Facebook stalk Tricia occasionally because she's an idol. And I saw some posts from her time as a member of the homecoming court in 1995. I was like, oh my God, like mother, like son, how awesome. Her other child, Elena, is a senior at Lemoore this year, and she plans to attend VCSU in the fall. I'm so excited. She's not just a music educator, a mother, a wife. She's also what you would call an after-hours farmer. That's right. The Lebahns live on a farm south of Litchville, and that's what they do when they get home from work, is they do more work. Impressive. They also are dune buggy experts. They love to go to Idaho and ride their dune buggies, which is, again, cool. Wish I was them. I'm so impressed by your patience, kindness, willing to work with the children. She's so deserving of this award. So please come on up. Congratulations.
Well, I too wrote down a little bit of something, so I make sure that I say all the things I want to say, and then maybe I'll go off of my card. So when I was first notified that I'd be receiving this awards, my thoughts went directly to the hall in Bankstead Auditorium and those photos. And I recall looking at them and admiring them for what they've done to receive this prestige. I was fortunate to have studied music education under great faculty, some of which are pictured there. Gloria Peterson, John Reed, Diana Scrow, Beth Klingenstein, Cindy Peterson, John DeFiore, John McBride, Tim Farrell, a year with Daniel Gast, and even the Piagentinis, Richard and Susan Piagentini. Some of you might remember them. They were my main instructors in the music department. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do as far as college. I wasn't even sure I was going to go to college. I was probably the first in the Brandt family to go to a 4-year university. And I just went, well, I guess I'm good at music. And so I decided to go that direction, and they were able to pull a lot more out of me than what I thought was possible. So I decided to be a composite music major in instrumental and vocal, so I could teach all grades, all levels. So I've been a K-12 music instructor for a couple of years, but I've also been fortunate to not teach K-12. I do grades 4 through 12, instrumental and vocal. So, and again, many are like, how do you do this? And I think I'm fortunate to have just grades 4 through 12 teaching those. So I do teach all areas. I've gotten to be pretty good at all instruments. Percussion, I think, is one of my favorites. And a new French horn player this year, so I'm learning the French horn. Haven't had to do that much teaching of the French horn. Anyway, I owe thanks to my parents, who are musicians in their own way, country music, or playing guitars and fiddles and all of that good stuff, playing everything by ear. They didn't read music, so I learned to read music. Started taking piano lessons when I was quite young, maybe about 5. Anyway, so I've just done a lot with music, not realizing that it was going to take me this far. Thank you to the foundation, and anyone who thought that I was worthy of this award. I'm honored. I've made a living teaching children and teenagers, and I love it. I love junior high kids. Who can say that? And there's love-hate, but I always come back around and love their energy and love their enthusiasm, and I can be just as crazy or crazier than them, so they never shock me too much. So I've made a wonderful living teaching the love of music to children and teenagers. I'm grateful to this university that helped shape me, and I'm blessed to have my support from my husband and my parents and my in-laws and my brother and my sister and my son Dane and my daughter who's busy doing homecoming activities in Lemoore, and all of you that are here, so many of you that I've done so much with through the years. John, I've known him for, well, I told him the other day it was about 30 years, and how is that possible? So it's so good to have good friends here and all the support from everyone at the university, and that's all. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you all for coming out this evening. Now it's time for closing remarks. Closing. More? Oh, okay. I actually looked up the criteria for what allows individuals to be even nominated for this award. So the criteria for this award include a distinguished career in professional music, music education, or music business, typically spanning a minimum of 20 years. Number 2, significant professional contributions to the field of music, such as publications, published compositions, or performances. Number 3, recognition for excellence in music from one or more state, regional, or national organization. Number 4, evidence of voluntary service to advance music appreciation or skill beyond the profession. And finally, number 5, recognition for voluntary service from one or more state, region, or national organization. I think these 3 individuals far surpass the criteria for this award. So, we want to congratulate them one more time. Thank you all so much for serving your state, your school so well, and just being awesome. So, round of applause. We will be wanting to do some photography of family and friends and random people. If you want a picture taken, come on up. So please stick around for that, and thank you all for coming again. Have a great night.